Good morning. Welcome to my class. Before we jump into our lesson for today, let us have first these two data. Number 1, total number of coronavirus cases as of October 7, 2020. There are 273,313 number of recovered patients and 47,655 active cases and 5,865 deaths. Number 2, this picture represents the number of active cases, recovered patients, and deaths. The first number is an example of the verbal communication. Verbal communication is the process of passing ideas, information, and thoughts between two or more people. It uses words to deliver a message that can be oral or written. The second number is an example of the nonverbal or the visual communication. Visual communication is any message perceived by the eyes. Example, visual signs like gestures, facial expression, signages or signposts, and traffic lights. Nonverbal materials like graphs, charts, tables, and maps. Okay, there are common types of the visual or the nonverbal communication. A. Graphs. They show relationships between data and are intended to display the data that is easy to understand and remember. Types of graphs. Number 1, line graph. It illustrates how related data changes over a specific period of time. One axis might display a value, while the other axis shows the timeline. Line graphs are useful for illustrating trends such as temperature changes during certain dates. To express the movement of a line, you should use appropriate verbs, adjectives, and adverbs depending on the kind of action you need to show. For this, you should use the following vocabulary. Verbs: rise, increase, grow, go up to, climb, boom, peak, fall, decline, decrease, drop, dip, go down, reduce, level up, remain stable, no change, remain steady, stay constant, stay, maintain the same level, crash, collapse, plunge, and plummet. And for the adjectives, we have sharp, rapid, huge, dramatic, substantial, considerable, significant, slight, small, minimal, massive. Adverbs: dramatically, rapidly, hugely, massive, sharply, steeply, considerably, substantially, significantly, slightly, minimally, markedly. There is also a list of adverbs to describe the speed of a change. Rapidly, quickly, swiftly, suddenly, steadily, gradually, and slowly. In this example of line graph, suppose we want to know during which quarter sales first fell below 5. We can draw a line across from 5 on the y-axis, that is the red line on the example, and see that it was during quarter 2. Number 2, bar graph. A bar graph may be horizontal or vertical. It gives information about numbers and is used to show comparison by means of bars of different sizes or heavy lines drawn to scale. In this example, you can see immediately that this graph gives you a clear picture of which category is largest and which is smallest. It gives a clear comparison between categories. The words used to describe bar graphs are pretty similar to ones used for the line graphs. Number 3, pictogram. Illustrates data using pictures. Usually, a picture represents a certain number which is indicated in a legend. In the example, it shows an image of a person to show the number of people in each category. Number 4, histogram is another type of bar graph that illustrates the distribution of numeric data across categories. often use histograms to illustrate statistics. For example, a histogram might display how many people belong to a certain age range within a population. The height or the length of each bar in the histogram shows how many people are in each category. And then the number 5 and the last type is the pie graph, which shows how a whole is divided into different parts. A pie chart looks like a circle or a pie cut up into segments. In the example, it shows data which shows the sale figures for a year broken down by quarters. The following comparison words can be used interchangeably to compare, compared to as opposed to, versus, more than, the majority of, only a small monetary, greater than, less than. The second type of the visual or the nonverbal communication is what we call tables. Tables are used to organize content in a web of rows and columns. In the example, it shows the number of the coronavirus cases in the Philippines. The last type is the information maps. They are the diagrams that represent usually the way topics and concepts are related and organized. Examples. Number 1, mind maps. It has a main topic, which is generally placed centrally. All the subtopics, sub-subtopics, etc. radiate out from that main topic. In the example, all the words connected in the center are related to each other. It will make you think of other words connected to the main topic and subtopics. Number 2, concept map is a visual organizer that can enrich students' understanding of a new concept. Most concept map organizers engage students in answering questions such as, what is it? What are some examples? It helps organize new information and deepen understanding and comprehension. In the example, it shows the relationship of words or ideas for deeper understanding of the main concept and ideas related to it. Okay, let us study the following pictures. Identify whether it is a verbal or visual. Okay, number 1. A chart, which is visual. Number 2, two people communicating, verbal. Number 3, a signage which tells that people should keep distance from one another, visual. Number 4, communicating through written text, verbal. Number 5, a picture representing a home or a family, visual. That's all for now. Goodbye. And see you in our next video discussion.